Good afternoon, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome back to another Highway to the Threemus Zone match. I'm LMMotoss. I'm here with our restreamer Alicel, Tracker Chasman, and my co-commentator Gundampilotspaz. Gundam, what can you tell us about these runners and what's on the line today?
Well, today we have an elimination match here in the hook route. Our runners will be playing for a seat in the second play-in race, which in turn will be played for a chance to move on to our next round, the table stage of this tournament. So one of our players is going to be eliminated today, and one will be able to race for a chance to stay alive.
That's right. So the stakes are high. We do have a Rosa start today for our runners. Pretty welcome considering not a lot of offensive power, but definitely good to know that you've got access to this great white mage off the bat, especially considering with our objectives today, we may not be seeing too much of the world. We may be able to skip the moon if we're lucky.
Yeah, getting a quick white mage in these flags is always one of my priorities. These objectives are pretty terrifying. I mean, we have, we're going to get guaranteed underground access pretty quick, so the bosses of Lower Babel will be available. The Mist Cave is just open at the start of the game, and that's one key item away from burning that village mist.
Yeah, so we're really only looking for basically as little as 2 key items to be able to get this. Actually 3, because we're going to need a package, we're going to need a way underground, and we're going to need a way to Zeromus, so either the Past or the Darkness Crystal.
That's right, because even if we achieve all our objectives, we still have to make it up there to fight the boss and conquer the Big Z in order to claim victory here. Our runners are off.
And it looks like we are finding an edge. Edge Rosa start is basically one of the best you can ask for under these conditions. We do get a tower key as well, so that objective 2 now ends up giving you an extra key item while you check it.
Yeah, it makes running and doing that objective even more tempting as soon as you run underground. Also seeing a blue robe in the Baron at the start of Baron there, and that means that either one of our most trolly bosses is off the table or one of our free bosses is off the table.
And here our runners are going to show us what are they favoring on their openers here. We've seen a lot of Water Ray checks first. We've seen a lot of Damsian checks first. We've seen a lot of looking for the double character check in Mysidia first. There's a lot of options here thanks to the free characters flag. And IndoorWah is saying, whoa, let me just go do this Mist Cave right away.
Both of our runners heading over to that Mist Cave. I'm not too surprised. I mean, this is a very low HP boss, but with that edge, any boss of the overworld is pretty much doable, even with just a single ninja.
IndoorWah getting done with objective 4, and they're showing us the Mist Cave loot, which even in the T-Wildest flags we do not see this very often. Wanting to actually grabs a crystal armor there. That's going to be worth quite a lot of cash.
It was three loot checks in the Mist Cave. It was longsword, great for edge, crystal armor, which is a pile of money, and the cursed ring. That's super spicy.
Yeah, a lot of our players, even under these flags, don't check the Mist Cave, but that would have been a big mistake under these this match. Konkers showing us Rydia in the waterway and is doing a little bit of looting in here as well. We've learned to expect that in this tournament as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much of an impact like that quick Mist Cave check has on IndoorWah's chances here in this race, because Konkers did not make those same checks.
Yeah, and money is an issue under this flag set because pretty much any party is going to be wanting things like Star Veils, Sirens, Hourglasses, and Bacchus Wines. So you do need quite a lot of cash to get what you need of those items, and IndoorWah is going to have an advantage here.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, we picked up one longsword for our ninja, but there's some really good edge swords just kind of available, and Konkers finds another longsword for sale at the Kaipo shop. So IndoorWah, if he makes that same check, sells that crystal armor, he'll be able to really get his edge to doing some serious damage.
Yeah, and they are showing us a kind of a niche strategy here, and went straight to Cave Eblan to check the treasures in here. Is looking for some equipment and potentially some EXP, but hasn't actually even filled out the party yet. So this is quite the maneuver.
Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, Castle Eblan is a fairly dense check, but it's a bit risky because they have 3 trap chests here. It also isn't any on different treasure settings would be higher rated than other spots, but on RT Wildish flags is weighted the same as any other check.
And we can see not interested in actually getting the trap chest in there, although is returning. So still looking just with 2 characters.
Yeah, certainly interesting way to play it. And I don't hate it either, because they're getting a good sense of what equipment's available before really deciding what party members to take.
Yeah, we would definitely expect to see a Castle Eblan check in the case of a confirmed hook route. A lot of players like to get the EXP from the trap chest there, and a little bit of power from the trap chest as well, potentially in the form of the items. But seeing it so early is pretty bold. I like it.
Konkers seeing his first character check in the form of a Palom. Definitely with an edge and a Rosa, a Palom is definitely a nice way to balance out that party.
And IndoorWah showing us the waterway boss reset it, but then went back in because they wanted to see. Oh, yeah, they saw the Moon Sparkle and reset before, but it turns out they wanted to see which Moon Sparkle it was. Turns out it is Pale Dim, which is kind of considered one of the easier of the moon bosses.
Yeah, not the moon boss I would want to find in a location I don't have to fight.
Yeah, definitely would have been nice if that had ended up being like, a Wyvern or an Ogopogo. But Konkers also has that knowledge, grabs the hovercraft, takes it to Antline, a little bit of swag through the shallows there.
Konkers going down, and we're going to get our first boss and key item check here in the Antlion nest.
We can see both of these players are a little bit more focused on looting and key item checks than they are on characters. A lot of times in these flags, you see players go for the characters right away, and we have Miss Dragon on top of Hobbs guarding a second Rydia, so this is actually going to play out well for IndoorWah.
Yeah, IndoorWah finding Miss Dragon up here, they are going to get an advantage if Konkers decides not to go up to Hobbs. The Hobbs character check is a location that some runners decide to fade on our group flags here, because there's so many other locations where characters are just freely available.
Yeah, we haven't even seen, even at this point, all of the free characters on the overworld, but we will be seeing if this Miss Dragon pays off.
Yeah, the spiciest bit of loot that IndoorWah can get from the Miss Dragon is our underground access. And if Konkers is not thinking of Hobbs as a required check on these flags, we could see him clear all the other overworld checks before even thinking to check the boss up here.
It is interesting. The Miss Dragon is in our players' minds because both Konkers and IndoorWah did clear or at least check the waterway boss, which there's really the only reason to check it is if you are looking for Miss Dragon, but it's hopefully they remember there's another boss up there on Hobbs.
Yeah, that check makes a lot of sense to do quickly, at least in my mind. you typically link the Mist Cave and the Waterfall checks. And because both of our runners did that objective really quick, I think that they just wanted to get out of the way so they don't accidentally fade it and end up with a surprise Mist Dragon there.
Now we do see Konkers gets a Baron Key from the Antline. Meanwhile, IndoorWah just a Crystal Bangle from Rydia's mom. But that is a great piece of equipment, going to really help throughout the rest of the seed, but not the underground access that would have been a major coup at this point.
Not the spice that we were looking for, but it's certainly going to help in a couple tight spots. So in IndoorWah, finding those long swords is going to sell the crystal armor that they so luckily picked up in that Mist Cave, and probably going to equip our edge to the best equipment that we have found so far.
The Baron Key is a nice pickup. It does enable a double check because you have the check from the throne itself and the Odin in the basement. But these parties are not ready to face that Odin spot yet, so I would definitely think we will not see either of our players turn that in for some time.
Yeah, the Baron check, it's smart sometimes to combine it with the Baron in check, which is freely open on the overworld, but the Odin spot down there is scary, and the walk to the Baron boss and the walk from the Baron boss to the key item takes up a good chunk of time.
Well, we find our third Rydia in the Baron Inn, guarded by a low HP Valvalis. So we'll have to see if Konkers decides to take. Well, it's going to be taking a second Rydia here because the party is not filled up yet, but. Otherwise, we'll get through Valvalis quite quickly, and it's time to see what the second boss is.
I don't hate Valvalis there. One swing from that ninja, and she's done.
Well, it turns out the elements are just having a few brews together in this pub. So we get Kanazo for the second half. This isn't too bad. You have plenty of time to lit 2 here. He's going to punch really hard, but otherwise, as long as you can keep those lit 2s going, you won't have to worry about the big wave.
Yeah, the wave can be scary from Kanazo in some really high HP spots. This isn't one of those spots, and we are doing a significant amount of damage pretty quickly, combined with that lit 2. So I don't think this boss is gonna be very scary for Konkers.
Yeah, and we see that Konkers did do the Hobbs flag check, so Rydia has learned an extra summon from melting the ice, which happens to be Sylph, one of the most actually useful summons in the game. You can both heal your party and damage the enemy, and it doesn't actually cost MP. The game is not doesn't work right in that regard. So as long as you have enough MP to cast it, it doesn't actually take that MP away.
Our tracker Chasman pointing out that Konkers consciously purchased the Sylph instead of found it. It looks like it was Indra on the Hobbs check.
Oh, there we go.
Speaking of picking up some great summons, Rydia's best summon has now been acquired, and Konkers Rydia is going to be doing some significant damage going forward.
Yeah, seeing Bahamut this early really incentivizes keeping Rydia, for sure. And she's also useful because she learns Warp earlier than any other Black Mage. So it also enables the double check at Dwarf Castle, since we do have the Warp glitch on today, and we have not seen Tella yet, who would be the other person who would be enabling that for us.
IndoorWah checking on that Rydia, and immediately they walk out of the Baron Inn, which is pretty interesting. And I assume they'll be returning and doing that check eventually, but not wanting to take it on as soon as they enter the town here.
Now we can see Konkers heads-up play here, actually using the Baron Key to check the weapon and armor shops. Does find ninja swords in the Baron shop, and ninja hats. So it's those ninja swords are pretty good if you don't find the legendary swords. They're basically Edge's non-legendary endgame sword.
Yeah, finding the long swords was a huge advantage. Finding the ninja swords is just making Edge stacked. They are very expensive, so it's might be a little tough to purchase them. But if we get a couple more of those like end game Cecil armors, they should be pretty cheap.
Yeah, meanwhile, IndoorWah is going through the same Baron in check. They will soon find Kanazo and get, a little bit of nada here, but finding the second Rydia, especially since IndoorWah has also not have a full party yet, it's very strange to see players fade the double characters at Mysidia for so long.
Yeah, I think with the amount of ninja gear that we found in shops, I'm gonna try to go to Mysidia as quick as possible and check and see if I can pick up a second Edge. But holding off the characters at Mysidia or the character in the Watery Pass is a pretty good strategy if you're worried about a late game anchoring situation. Pick up a low level mage and suddenly your anchoring just kind of works out.
Yeah, and that's a reason why you'll see a lot of runners in this tournament look at a character check and then immediately leave, especially if it's one of the character checks that's not linked with a key item check. IndoorWah doing excellent timing here, getting the lit ones off to make sure no wave approaches.
Yeah, both of our runners showing some kind of mastery over the Kinatsu boss script. Very well done.
We see Konkers not happy to fade Baron, is going to be actually doing the first Baron check at minimum here.
I'm excited to see if we blow a free boss here or if we're getting our Fabul Gauntlet.
Oh, it's just a water hag.
Yeah, water hag. I really always prefer to see him on a tougher spot than this. This is a low damage, low HP spot, and unfortunately for our runners, the water hag is absolutely free. So, whoops.
IndoorWah still not happy with the amount of treasure that's been found, is checking the Barren Forest and is heading back into Barren now. I can only assume to do some item checking. Yes, we see a duck into the item shop, which did have Cure 3's exits and life potions.
I mean, I think interesting routing from both of the runners. I mean, the getting underground here because of that objective is going to be pretty critical, and both runners fading the easier Fabul check to do the more difficult Baron in and Baron checks. It's interesting. I mean, I'm going to want to do those low level checks to get as many key item checks in before I get that underground access, just to go.
Yeah, I completely agree. This is some routing decisions that we rarely see, and both players are making them. So we're fading Fabul hard here.
Yeah, Chasman is pointing out that with Water Hag here, we are going to find that Fabul Gauntlet somewhere further down the line, and it's going to be rude, to say the least.
Konkers is showing us the Mom Bomb on the throne of Baron, and IndoorWah is actually now going to Fabul. So we spoke too soon. We're going to get to see two checks at once here.
Yeah, Mom Bomb. It can be a bit of a tough boss, especially early, because the free enterprise gives her an extra 10,000 hit points in most of these spots, just to make the multiple bombs a bit more threatening.
Oh, and another kind of free boss, depending on what spot it's in. But we do see the Dark Knight Cecil Pain Man himself on IndoorWah screen. They will be hearing the Pain Manifesto here shortly because Edge is well out of the danger zone for these dark waves.
Yeah, Pain Man certainly free here, but can be pretty rude in locations such as the Feymarch King spot, for example.
You can see some heads-up play here from Konkers as well, using the Succubus item on his Rydia in order to steal MP from Edge for his bottom Rydia.
Yeah, but that explosion did a lot more damage than I expected it to. Edge is gonna see if we can get through these bombs. Konkers does have the Edge's flame spell available, which may or may not do enough damage here, but it looks like Edge is just going to be swinging away.
Ooh, took a high roll hit there. Ooh, and goes down. Meanwhile, from Fabul Castle, we get an Artemis bow. That's really nice for Rosa at this point in the game.
It is really nice. It's gonna make if we find sirens underground, it's gonna make an egg grind a whole lot easier because although is it the bow or just the arrows that have weakness to dragons?
You know, that's a great question.
Or both. Why not both?
I do notice charm arrows on that Rosa as well. That's basically very useful for racial damage against several enemies that we may have to face in the future of this seed.
Yeah, so Xenocat in the chat pointing out that it is just the arrows that have weakness to dragons. So the Artemis bow, it's a great bow, but won't be helping with our egg grind. I tend to only use it when I need a little extra damage because it does give us a negative to Rosa's white magic.
Yeah, and these flags, a lot of players tend to try to make Rosa pure white mage and look for one of those higher tier staffs for her rather than a bow. But you can't discount the usefulness of a bow using Rosa for not just niche situations, but a lot of situations, especially in the mid game.
Yeah, I generally think I keep a bow on Rosa until I'm on the moon or about to enter Zeromus, and then I'll swap her with if I have one of those endgame staffs, so she can help out doing more healing in the Zeromus fight.
So Konkers is going to try the throne again, is looting, getting some extra stuff from the side, Armory and Baron. Meanwhile, IndoorWah is going to Ordeals of all places and finds an Edward in the free character spot. I'm thinking, yeah, Edward is not coming along with us today.
With that kind of, I say, open underground objective, 20 minutes in, no underground access. I think both of our runners are probably starting to feel a little bit behind here.
Yeah, you know, especially so many of the races in this tournament have been won or lost by literal minutes that taking any wipe immediately puts the pressure onto you.
Yeah, especially the Mom Bomb on the overworld can be a bit trolly because of that extra 10,000 HP, but generally you don't see a wipe in the Baron Castle unless you run into like a wyvern or something really rude. So Konkers is probably not feeling great right now.
Wah is now showing us the Baron guards on top of Mount Ordeals and has rightfully already silenced them. So a lot of their more troublesome effects of putting the shape-shifting status effects on your party are not going to hit. But it's nice of them to waste their turns trying anyways.
I do like facing the Baron guards with a party of mages because they are infinitely cheesable. My favorite is just turning them into the Lilliputians, so my melee users just do more than double damage to them.
And we can see Konkers is trying again. Once again, the explosion does wipe out the party except for the Edge, We'll see if this time he gets a little luckier on the damage rolls and manages to get some of these grenades or gray bombs and bombs down.
Chat is pointing out us a little fact about Rydia that I often forget. When you put Rydia in the middle slot, the Sylph glitch, which enables the Sylph spell to cost no MP, it no longer works. And I think we do that because the middle slot gives you other advantages. So Konkers with that Rydia in the middle slot is losing out on that spell costing 0 MP.
Konkers going round 3 here is now, and did not save in between as well, so has to sit through the Water Hag fight again, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm definitely not doing... I'd rather just take the Waterhead fight again instead of doing the long walk back to that save point. You're going to waste more time doing the walk than having to take the fight a second time. Third time, I think maybe you're getting closer to even, though.
We do find another welcome boss here on the back attack spot on Ordeals. It is the Dark Elf. Very nice boss to see, and has already been transformed by Wah, so a variety of things can be done to this boss at this point.
The Bahamut summon is definitely one of the variety of things that you can do to this boss to get through him fast.
Dark Elf will be falling down the deep ravine quite quickly here for IndoorWah.
Yeah, it's seeing Wah take advantage of that Bahamut spell. It just kind of makes me happy. I think the early Bahamut is one of the most fun things that you can get in this game.
Yeah, and with just 1,000 HP at this next boss spot, there's not too many bosses that can threaten the party here, so very nice to not have to go save. We do find the underground access, though. There's the Magma Key we've been looking for, and it's Rubicante here in the shrine on top. Oh no, it's the Elements fight.
It was the Elements fight.
Oh, goodbye.
So we don't have a hook route this seed, which is a bit unfortunate. Wah is going to be taking quick advantage of that Magma Key. I'm not going to be surprised if they immediately go to Lower Babel, but probably gonna try to find Sirens and crack a few eggs just to get a couple levels on their party first.
Yeah, not only does Underground Access enable the ability to go check that tower objective, but there are also 2 free key item spots in the form of the Feymarch and Sylph 1/Sheila 1 check, along with all of those nice gated underground shops, which have the capacity to find Sirens, like you said, or other items we're looking for, like the Hourglasses or the Bacchus Wines.
Yeah, worried about Konkers' side at this point. Throwing himself against this boss for the 3rd time in a row, and not changing his party order, not doing any additional grinding, does make me very nervous for him. If he takes another wipe here, I don't think I try this fight again.
Now, the good thing is his Rosa did live and got a cure off, so it looks like he perhaps put the glass helm on her. So she'll be able to live, and this is looking much better this time for Konkers. It looks like he will be able to get through this fight. Now, unfortunately, we know that IndoorWah has found the progression, so whatever Konkers gets here, it's going to be slower than what IndoorWah has got.
Yeah, I think the only thing that Konkers can find here that'll give him any progression is, of course, the Darkness Crystal. Even half the Excalibur here is going to be slower than just the underground access.
Yeah, this can still end up paying off if Konkers gets a package, since we need that as well, and that would mean IndoorWah would also have to spend this time. But by the time IndoorWah comes to Baron Castle, their party is going to be much more powerful, so...
That's right. That's right. I honestly forgot about that objective because it's one of the more annoying ones to have to do.
Yeah, hardly anyone is ever excited to see the package in the mid or late game, but you almost forget, oh yeah, that's an objective. I need to go do that.
And especially on these flags, I think in Gauntlet flags, package was used a lot more because there were so few characters available. But here in the Threemus zone, we have plenty of characters available, so the package is hardly ever checked.
And no surprise here, Wah is checking the Dwarf Castle shop and does find Hourglass 2s for sale. That's going to be useful for sure.
The item that Konkers received from the Baron trash can flashed really quickly. It was not a key item. It was some kind of weapon, but I didn't see what it was.
Oh, it was a white spear. This is heartbreaking for Konkers. That's a lot of time commitment to not pan out with anything.
Doing the character check in Mysidia now, maybe if he finds an edge, he picks him up for that nice endgame, or a cane. For that nice endgame cane weapon, but finding 2 whammies in Mysidia.
Yeah, I can't imagine a third Rydia is in the cards for Konkers, and that Edward is right out.
Yeah, any other situation other than having Bahamut, I'm upset about multiple Rydias, but I'll keep 2 Rydias around until late game with that summon.
Yeah, it's nice that they have found that now instead of later. So, and we see IndoorWah check in the freebies. This is not a bad move at all. Feymarch is a very popular destination as soon as you get underground.
Konkers trying to do some inventory management here, looking to sell enough equipment to pick up a curse ring, which is going to give not 10 curse rings, Konkers, but looking to pick up a curse ring that's going to help him manipulate his party's agility and make a lot of bosses more manageable.
Yeah, and this is where the money situation and where you choose to loot is really important, because remember, IndoorWah found a free curse ring at the beginning of the game just by checking those chests in Mist Cave where both players already were. And just getting a protect ring from the vanilla rat tail chest, it's a great item. Maybe it wasn't worth coming all the way down here for that, except this shop is worth it because we got sirens, everybody.
Yeah, with buying a couple sirens here, underground is going to be fairly open for Wah. They want to do that the tower check as quickly as possible because it is an objective. It's worth 2 key items at this point. The Baron bosses also probably require a couple eggs to be scrambled at this point in order to get through. So with those sirens, 4 key item checks are going to be pretty quick.
Oh, this is rude. We get what appears to be Odin at Leviathan and Plague at the Ashura spot. Plague is manageable, but Odin is extremely rude. If they need to beat this boss, it's going to be one they have to prepare for a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Odin is so fast there that even Rydia with Lit 3 may not be enough. It's going to be a really hard fight to manage.
Yeah, and a Siren Grind has been in the cards really since the beginning because we've had Edge who can steal Sirens, but it is so much faster to buy them from the store that it really makes it worth it and opens up your options a lot, because we only have 3 key items right now, and a lot of the checks that we have remaining are kind of mid-game to late mid-game boss positions that you really don't want to fight at these character levels. So I can imagine, even though players hate doing it, they hate grinding without 10 key items, that we're going to have to see at least a few eggs from both players before they do some of these other underground checks.
Looks like Konkers is taking on his Baron Guard fight, favoring the Sylph Summon instead of Bahamut. probably to keep his party alive here, but definitely would want one of those Rydias to be throwing that Bahamut. I think that would make this fight a whole lot faster.
And IndoorWah, still not wanting to check tower yet, is going to check Sylph Cave freebies. Ooh, gets a trap chest right away. Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing here. Sylph Cave has 7 trap chests, so even though the treasure density is amazing in Sylph Cave, it's a big risk as far as time commitment goes to check the treasure.
Yeah, I most always never check any treasure chests in Sylph Cave on these flags. I'll do the Faymorch Cave if I feel hurt for money or items, but the Sylph Cave is just, and I've marked it as a no-go.
Yeah, you do see a lot of spicy looting of Faymarch on the way down, just because there's only 1 trap chest there and still a lot of treasure chests, but it's just too much, you know, especially since there's really no party. The only safe fight of these trap chests is the Toad Lady, but that would take you forever to actually fight it.
Yeah, we do have, and for Enterprise we do have a flag set where we mix the key items in with those trap chests, and that's pretty much the only situation I'm going to be doing some of those trap chest fights in the Sylph Cave.
Yeah, and we'll have to see what Konkers does as far as Underground Order once he gets down there, because he is about to have no problems here getting through to the shrine and getting the Magma Key. And meanwhile, IndoorWah is going to show us what Sheila has gotten. We'll have to see if their play here pays out.
Sheila has a key item, but it's only the rat tail. The rat tail really its ability is only that it gates another key item, but cannot be turned in until we find a hook. So some value, but not exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah, you hate to see the rat or pink tail taunting you when you don't have a hook.
Konkers still favoring that Sylph Summon. I mean, Sylph Summon is really good, but when you have the King of all summons in your back pocket, that's what I'm going to be throwing against every boss that I see.
Yeah, I think he's a little worried about MP, but doesn't quite realize how good Odin is, even at this point. How good Bahamut is, even at this point. With Bahamut would one-shot this Dark Elf.
Yeah, I also don't think he realizes that Sylph is costing that middle Rydia MP with every use, which is a little unfortunate. Oh, finally deciding to throw that Bahamut. He was considering not doing it. I think that's definitely something I want to ask him during the interview.
Wah is giving us the job dwarf, who is a certified public accountant. Thank you, Wah, for that.
IndoorWah proving themselves the people's champion.
Wow, we saw Ashura summon for sale there in Tamra as well, if either of our runners decides they need a little bit more oomph. It's random what you get when you summon her, but it is quite powerful healing.
Yeah, it's a tough summon to pick up at a shop just because of how much it costs, but if I'm hurting for healing and I have the cash, I'm going to pick it up. But with the Rosa, it becomes a little less valuable.
All right, I see that Wah did buy 5 Sirens, so doesn't want to do a full grind, but we'll be doing a little bit here, and wants to check the double key items here in the tower now.
Yeah, one of our rules on these flags is that you always want to chase your objectives, and this boss at the top of the tower is an objective. So we'll get a key item from it, but more importantly, it brings us that much closer to go mode.
Yeah, the save here on top of the tower is definitely advised. This party may be able to get through this boss fight at the top, depending on what it is, though. We do not have the party power to ensure a clear here.
Yeah, I mean, did pick up the sirens, but didn't scramble any eggs before rushing the top of tower and finding this CPU fight up here with a dual Rydia party is not the ideal situation.
We do see a moon sparkle there as well, so it's good to know there's another moon. We don't get to know what it is, but that's a boss we're likely not going to see.
So with the CPU here, I can imagine how this fight's going to play out. It's going to be Edge is going to do a couple hits while the rest of everyone else keeps the party alive, and then spamming Bahamut until it dies.
Yeah, you hate to eat those globes, but this position is pretty slow, so this is a situation where if you have the life potions, you may just be able to outrun it.
Yeah, IndoorWah has had 2 Drain Spears. Already darted one, is darting a second one. Those two darts alone is 5,000 damage, and now go and then has the Sylph summon as well. Sylph is going to be able to hit the CPU even through the wall. But yeah, the end of this fight is just going to be a couple Bahamuts coming out to do as much damage as possible.
Mirror in chat asking about how much time is between the runners. It all depends on what Konkers decides to do once he gets underground, because some of what IndoorWah has done has not paid off. But I would say IndoorWah right now is a solid 6 to 10 minutes ahead of Konkers.
Yeah, technically Konkers has one check ahead on the overworld, but about 3 checks so far once we're through to the CPU behind on the underground. But once because Konkers is going to be checking that Baron spot later, because Wah will check the Baron spot later if they decide to do it at all, they'll be through it that much faster.
Yeah, it basically all depends on what our runners kind of decide to do. We see Wah has run out of MP on the Rydias and had to throw some ethers here, but is now back to Bahamut.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many options available right now, both underground, that the time can be made up pretty quickly if just some smart plays are made. However, if our Darkness Crystal is behind the Odin, then I think we're going to see probably a full clear from both runners before even attempting that fight.
Yeah, and we see Konkers does run into that warrior chest in the Feymarch and ends up resetting, but that means he can safely loot the entire Feymarch now, because there's only that one trap chest, and he can just avoid that one and loot everything else.
Wah taking a reset out of that CPU fight. Hopefully we'll be setting up a bit more cautiously going in. Again, I think taking advantage of those Sylph summons to do damage and Edge to get CPU down before deploying the brute force of Bahamut is really how they need to plan this battle.
Yeah, in a way, I think this may be a situation where patience is a virtue, because CPU only deals max HP-based damage, meaning as long as you can continue to heal with Rosa every turn, you will not wipe. And may want to switch tactics to just kill the defender and just use Edge as a dart machine on the main CPU, because in that last fight, there were quite a few heals that got off on the CPU. If the heals hadn't happened, it would have gone down, but because it was healed 2 or 3 times, it put it a little bit out of reach and kind of wasted some of those darts.
Yeah, our restreamer Alasel is pointing out that only Konkers has the Sylph Summon. IndoorWah does not, so that explains why they jumped to using Bahamut so quickly. So that's going to make this a lot more challenging setup than otherwise.
Yeah, it stinks because CPU can be such a time-consuming boss if you don't have a way to deal a lot of heavy single-target damage. So we can see these darts are doing a lot of work, but it just when you know that you have Bahamut, you really want to try to use it in you feel like you're wasting time if you don't, but this is a situation where it's better to kind of just be patient, heal up, and see if you can get it.
Even a party full of melee fighters here, if they're not back row glitched, it's still a slog because I just can't do enough damage to the CPU to really get through them in anything close to a decent time.
Yeah, and this is a situation where some players may try to get a lucky reflected float and see if they can hit the attacker with a float in order to be able to enable Quake here. But unfortunately, I don't believe this Palom has Quake yet anyways.
No, his HP looks too low at this point for Quake.
And Konkers is now in the Feymarch, has found those sirens. We'll see if he decides to grind a little bit earlier than IndoorWah does.
And hello to our raiders from Free Enterprise. I hope the race that you just came from was a good one. Please don't spoil the results for everyone watching our race here. We have IndoorWah versus Konkers. It's an elimination match in our hook route, and Konkers is a little bit behind now, but IndoorWah is struggling against CPU at the top of the Tower of Babel.
Yeah, to sum it up, our runners are basically just looking for a package and moon or other Zeromus access at this point. Neither one of them have actually gotten through with the tower yet. IndoorWah is currently fighting the objective boss, which happens to be CPU at the top of Lower Babel.
Yeah, and very much like the Wah is taking this fight so much more cautiously, but ready to start opening up the heavy damage from Bahamut onto CPU, thinking that he's got that main CPU part down to a low enough health that Bahamut can finish it off.
Yeah, that's a really good counting here. That Wah knew that the Bahamut would finish it off, so manages to get through the last phase of that fight quicker by using the Bahamut spell. Nice work. Ooh, we get Blink and Berserk there. That's welcome pickups. Oh no, it's the Pan. So we will be double dipping Sylph Cave tonight.
That transforms our 3 remaining open key item checks in the underground, and it ratchets it up to 5. So IndoorWah is going to be able to do a lot of checks very quickly here, where Konkers is checking the Sheila 1 spot now, finishing off their freebies before deciding which dungeon that he wants to take on first.
Oh, we get blue robes here in the cannon room, and since we already saw Water Hag, you know what that means. It's the alt Gauntlet, everybody.
You, as a runner, you hate to see it. As someone who wants to see a great race, this couldn't be a better spot for the alt Gauntlet.
Oh no, the Chimera and Flame Man absorbing that flame spell from Edge, and to tell you the truth, Cannon Room is the biggest difference in time that you can have between the normal fight and an alt Gauntlet fight being there. It's normally a super fast spot, now turned into one of the longer boss slogs available.
Yeah, you think you hate to see a Galbez in the Cannon Room? Just wait until you encounter the alt Gauntlet here.
Konkers is now actually at least gets 2 for 1 here. Fabul managing to get this Dark Knight Cecil, and will be getting the Sheila 1 check as well.
Yeah, I forgot that Konkers had not done the Fabul defense, but we don't get rewarded with any significant key items anyway, so it's just kind of a formality at this point.
You know, it's a shame that Edge doesn't learn, you know, the not fire ninja magic unless you've cleared the hook route.
No, it's getting scary for IndoorWah here during this alt gauntlet. Did they save before coming down here after getting through that CPU?
You know, I believe they did. It would be tragic to die here if they didn't, though, because you know, as we saw, that CPU fight was very time intensive.
I can tell you that if I was in the same situation, I would not have saved. I very rarely save going into the cannon room just because it's so rarely a rude boss, and I think the normal HP for a boss there is like 500, right?
Ooh, I've got to expect that perhaps Wah did not save because they are spending one of the image items. We can see getting very nervous here about only Edge standing.
Yeah, having to redo that CPU fight at this point is probably going to erode any advantage that they had in their lead.
Yeah, and we can see they're using the fact that Edge has this big chunk of HP to try to get the rest of the party up and healed before the next batch. It looks like as long as this last Black Liz keeps attacking Edge, this will work out. We can get the life off, we can get some Cure 2s off, and manage to kind of race up the party so that we're not starting the next battle of the Gauntlet in bad shape.
Konkers looks to be taking the much safer strategy of scrambling 2 or 3 eggs before running up the tower or entering Dwarf Castle. I imagine tower is going to be the play again because of that objective waiting for him.
Yeah, I really like this play to scramble eggs here because you kind of already know which checks you have left. And yes, you can probably do tower, but wouldn't you like to do it faster?
Yeah, I mean, I do not hate IndoorWah's choice of opting to run up tower as quick as possible. It's if they felt comfortable with where they were and their mastery of the bosses, but in a race, you have to choose between speed and comfort. And a lot of time, if I feel like it's going to be a jet seat, I think speed is going to win out.
The Wah does get through, and they will show us what is the cannon room item as soon as they exit.
Yeah, but with these couple of eggs, I do feel like Konkers going to get through the tower a lot faster and make up a big chunk of time here.
Yeah, and of course I don't mean literally exiting, because you can't exit from the Tower of Babel thanks to the cutscene at the end. It will not let you, the game doesn't allow you to exit from any dungeon that has any cutscenes associated with it.
Wah did complete Objective 2. So that should be lit on the tracker, Chasma.
Yeah, and we see Konkers went from being pretty far behind to now basically almost neck and neck, just as to get through those 2 bosses that Wah just did. Whew, a tragedy. Only Zeus gauntlets from that cannon room. You know, at least we can say a lot of these key item checks that have not given us key items have at least given us really great accessories. So our players really are not wanting for awesome accessories, pretty decent armor, and good weapons for their Edge right now. That's all pretty well available.
So Konkers going into the CPU fight with the Sylph summon. We're going to see this be a lot cleaner than IndoorWah's attempt.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing a misstep here because Konkers did scramble more than 1 egg, meaning I'm pretty sure there's some better spells on these black mages. Rosa's got more HP. Yeah, Rosa has almost double the HP that Rosa had.
Yep, and deploying those sylphs immediately to great effect. 1,300 damage, taking out the defender, and going to be whittling away at that CPU's health very quickly.
Yeah, it's a shame the animation for Sylph is so high, but we do get a Sand Ruby from Sheila too. Can't imagine we'll be checking that unless our runners want a fresh agility anchor later.
Yeah, and IndoorWah picked up the pass from the Sylphs, which, if they're able to find their objectives on the overworld, will make accessing Zeromus 3 minutes faster than walking down the lunar subterranean.
Yeah, and finding that pass does open up the possibility that we'd never see the moon in this match. If we can find a package here at Dwarf Castle, or the sealed cave check, which is enabled by the warp glitch here at Dwarf Castle, that's going to be it. Our players will just need to scramble some more eggs to get ready for Zeromus and go.
But IndoorWah is running out of checks that aren't that Odin fight, as they've cleared those pan checks and will now be entering into this dwarf castle fight. So looking to find that darkness crystal quickly and enter go mode.
Yeah, the double check here I really like, because this will be fast. Even with the cutscene, this is faster than doing Baron Castle. But we gotta see here, because that Odin spot in Baron Castle, we've not seen what that holds. And that is the way that Konkers could catch up here, is if that's actually required, and IndoorWah has to do Baron Castle.
Yeah, it could be a scary fight down there if our runners aren't ready for it. But less scary than the Odin boss in Feymarch for sure.
Now let's paint a picture here. We have the bosses at Feymarch, that's 2 checks. We have Dwarf Castle and Sealed Cave, that's another 2 checks. We have the Odin spot, that's 5 checks here that could have the package. But here's what could happen. One of these checks could have the Darkness Crystal instead, and our runners could go up there, but not check everything on Earth first. Let's say one of those Feymarch bosses has the package. That means that the moon would be not completely haunted, because we can still get Legend Sword or Adamant up there, but definitely more time consuming.
It's also a possibility that the only thing we pull out of the underground is our Earth Crystal or the Harp, which will just lead us to additional checks on the overworld. So less and less chances that this is going to be a jet seed, and we're inching more towards a long slog here.
Yeah, it becomes very scary if you have to go to the moon when you only need 1 key item remaining, because then it becomes a question of, if you make the wrong decision of where to check first, you just handed your opponent literal minutes over you.
Motoss, I have a feeling that this seed may not even be randomized at this point.
Oh, are you talking about vanilla ha 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 here? Is that what's going on?
It was vanilla Calbrina into vanilla ha ha ha.
We saw another Rosa too, so once again, the tournament organizers and restreamers showing absurd favoritism towards this white mage.
Looks like that edge surviving the initial spell from Golbez, and staying alive from the demolishes from the Shadow Dragon. So we'll at least have 1 Star Veil deployed for IndoorWah.
Yeah, this is good. This spot doesn't have much HP. We'll see if Wa decides that they want some experience on those dead characters, because with no danger of wiping, it may be worth it to get some of them up in order to. Oh no, just deciding to bomb it right away. So apparently not worried about this EXP. You can always crack an egg later. It's fine.
Yeah, the Bahamut not even needing to come out with that quick dart of a drain spear, doing almost the entire HP of the spot in damage.
Yeah, we can see Wa's making great use of these drain spears. Now, we kind of joke about this item because it's in the top tier loot category, just because it is that's just the tier of item it's on in the game. But it kind of hurts all your stats, so it's not actually that great of a weapon to use. However, the attack power is good, and that's all that matters for darts. So drain spears are an excellent dart item.
So on Konker's side, we're seeing the difference that a handful of levels and the Quake spell make in this ult Gauntlet fight. Not even really worried about any of the characters going down and making his way through it kind of slowly, but without much fear.
Oh wow, it was a Legend Sword from the Sealed Cave check with that Warp spell, so this is getting tantalizing. All we need is the Adamant Rock or the package. Either one, we'll get it, and it's a Darkness Crystal too! Oh no, this opens up too many possibilities. What is Wa gonna do next?
We are in go mode on IndoorWah's side, but with the possibility of the Adamant being somewhere else and a potentially I keep thinking that there's a moon check for some reason, and I think I'm getting my seeds crossed, unfortunately. But yeah, no, we are one item away from go mode, and it's going to be either the Legend Sword or the package.
Yeah, this becomes very scary. These players are pretty familiar with the amount of adversity they're facing in this tournament by now, and when you have the choice of leveling up a little bit and clearing the spots you're missing on Earth, or going to the moon, and either one of those can pay off with the one key item you need for either of these objectives, it becomes really scary when you have to make that decision of which way you're going to go. And unfortunately, we know that Barren Castle is not going to pay out the way Wa hopes, so we can only hope for their sake that the Odin spot does pay off. But we can see these players going over each other's steps. We were talking about Konkers having a much easier time here in the tower. Now we're going to see what the levels do for Wa up against this Mom Bomb here in Barren Castle that Konkers had such a hard time with.
So I think we're gonna see Konkers do a very similar routing that the IndoorWah did, immediately checking that pan and then diving into Dwarf Castle. IndoorWah is just kind of making up ground here, as you said, Motoss, but this is going to be a lot faster than Konkers' Baron check was.
And Gibran TR in chat said, did Wa skip Sheila? No, Wa did go to Sheila, and that's where we got the Sand Ruby from.
Yeah, Sheila 1 was the Rat Tail, Sheila 2 was the Sand Ruby.
Konkers now getting the bad news about the tower, and I'm thinking may also follow Wa to Dwarf Castle at this point. It's the only other double check remaining, except for those Feymarch bosses, of course, so...
I think Konkers is getting a little bit ahead of himself. He is running to Fabul, but did not actually go down and hit Yang with the pan.
Oh yeah, that pan came from top of tower, if I'm remembering correctly, so this is not actually going to pay out yet.
Yeah, this is an easy mistake to make, especially when you're feeling the pressure.
Yeah, this is why even sometimes when I know it's not the most efficient thing, a lot of times I check it right away when I get it. I just put it in my brain. I have to go to Self Cave. I have to go to Self Cave. Just don't let myself do anything else.
Yeah, and Konkers was thinking the same thing, but he did skip a crucial step here. So hopefully realizes what he did and will correct it.
Yeah, and at this place, at this part of the race, if I'm either player, I'm feeling behind right now because Konkers had those couple of wipes to Mom Bomb earlier, and Wah similarly had some hard time with CPU at the top of the tower. So they have both had fights that caused them multiple wipes. So at this point, they've got to be feeling really under the gun.
Yeah, and that's it's a tough race in a seed which is not giving you your objectives that you want. In an elimination match, while being restreamed, there's a lot of factors going on here that make you nervous.
Yeah, and we see Wah did not even see the Mom Bomb explode. Finishes it off with a Bahamut summon. Konkers is going to feel happy to see this pass, but still needs to go see the Sheila 2, which unfortunately is just the Sand Ruby.
The unfortunate thing, neither of our runners are going to be able to make it to the magic 10 key item threshold before being forced to go up to the moon. So not going to be able to grind to endgame levels, but we'll have to make up that experience fighting some of those moon bosses.
IndoorWah getting that White Spear, just thinking, oh, more dart ammo.
Oh, this is not going to make Konkers feel great, finding the demist up here. Luckily for him, it doesn't lead to any key items, but it's probably, just seeing it up here on hubs not going to help his state of mind.
Yeah, when it's just been sitting in there the whole match and you don't know what it has yet, it becomes like, oh no, was this something I needed?
Yeah, it's not going to take him long to get through. It's not going to take him long to do the check in the Mist Village, but every minute he doesn't have a Darkness Crystal is a minute that IndoorWah is getting ahead of him.
Yeah, and we can see IndoorWah was not interested in the Odin check there, did not even go down to see what the boss was. It is instead raising the big whale for at least the character check and shop check first. Now we are entering the Naming Way shop, our final shop check. It has Soma drops. We don't have a Tella, so those have a lot less usefulness than they would normally. Chat is having a discussion about where was the Darkness Crystal actually from. Remember that although we have the warp glitch on, meaning our players could steal that Darkness Crystal from the sealed cave, the game's logic does actually require availability of that Darkness Crystal, meaning one of the checks we've left behind on the Earth does have the Luca key.
You're right. According to the logic of the game, you cannot have moon access. You need to have the key to access your moon access, right? So that does take one of our required key items and puts it up on the moon.
IndoorWah giving the fans what they want and is about to check. There is the saying in the community, there's always value in Cave Bahamut. We'll see if that's true today.
Yeah, with It'll be interesting to see how IndoorWah routes the moon. I don't hate starting with Cave Bahamut, but the densest checks are, of course, the Ribbon Room and those couple of the hardest boss spots at the bottom of the lunar subterranean.
Oh, peeks the boss and finds the free King and Queen Eblan here in Cave Bahamut.
Value here in Cave Value will give IndoorWah a huge advantage over Konkers, and pulling that package here might seal Konkers' fate if he continues to fade the Dwarf Castle check.
Yeah, Bahamut Cave is one of those spots that can really change difficulty depending on what boss is here and what their dominant mode of attack is. So it's very nice to see a boss that really just has some really weak attacks and automatically dies for you. There's a Cure 3 on Rosa. That's going to help out Wah for the rest of this moon dive.
Cave Value is haunted.
So many spears and no Kane in sight.
Yeah, I mean, that getting that chunk of experience definitely is going to help IndoorWah, but they really did not want to see that Dragoon Spear there.
Yeah, it's hard under these circumstances where any one of two key items could give you go mode to fade any spot that's you can get to straight from the map, though.
No, definitely. I think definitely a smart play. Cave Bahamut. It's not a long dungeon. You can actually peek the boss without having to go down that little path, and reset out if you don't like it. It's smart, and they found a free boss, and we're able to get a nice XP boost.
Jbrone TR asking, why is IndoorWah walking out of Cave Bahamut? First off, we don't have exit on Rosa. However, IndoorWah did buy some exits manually from the item shop near the beginning of the game. I think it's forgotten that they exist.
Yeah, but at late high 20s, low 30s levels, I can't imagine that they expect to be able to get through Lunar Sub with a single dive. So maybe just reserving those exits for a situation that would be a lot ruder.
Yeah, we do have an issue kind of coming up because IndoorWah does have Sirens in the inventory and could do Gold Dragons here, but this party is not a great setup yet in order to actually kill dragons quickly and safely.
Yeah, Chad is discussing the grind situation with the low levels. One thing I struggle with is the timing of when to grind, especially this close to 10 key items. But grinding at 9 key items and getting extra levels to help you through these bosses is going to save you more time than waiting. In a lot of cases, it's a really delicate line to walk.
Yeah, this is really bold and aggressive play from Wah here. We can see this shows they are feeling very far behind. Finds Balnob and Dr. Luge here in the first spot. Doesn't grind at all, just goes straight to one of the moon bosses.
Konkers pushing through that Golbez fight and is going to be rewarded with his Darkness Crystal and his Legend Sword.
Oof, a one shot on Wah's middle Rydia there. Manages to get the Bahamut off with the bottom Rydia though.
Yeah, Dr. Luge in this spot is going to be very doable with those Bahamut summons, because that XP or that HP is divided up 3 ways between the different forms.
Meanwhile, Konkers is about to get the good news here. Going to get the Legend Sword here from the Sealed Cave spot, and we'll be grabbing the Darkness Crystal from Luca herself in a moment.
Yeah, I'm trying to put myself into what Konkers could be thinking at this moment. I know if I'm pulling a Darkness Crystal from Dwarf Castle, I'm gonna be worried, especially since the Magma Key was one of the last checks that he did on the overworld. Spent a lot of time in the Baron Castle getting through that Mom Bomb fight. It's yeah, I don't think he's in a very comfortable position. I think he's probably pretty nervous pulling that Darkness Crystal at this point.
Yeah, and we can see he's getting the inventory purge happening to grab a nice stack of Hourglass 2s. That's going to be for potentially grinding gold reuse on the moon.
Looks like Konkers' Sand Ruby is lit up, so he did go back to Sheila 2. So those checks are taken care of. I mean, it's possible he does some divergence here and goes to the Fey March, but I think he summons the whale as quick as possible.
And oh my goodness, this aggressive play has paid out big time for IndoorWah. Wah finding the package from the very first boss at the top of the lunar subterrane. So going there with no levels, managing to find a boss that can be defeated at level 30, and really paying out, is now in go mode, gonna go burn Village Mist, get the levels needed for Zeromus, and get this match done.
Yeah, I have to believe that IndoorWah, knew what bosses were available. You should be tracking your bosses. It's one of the most important things for this reason. And did those extra boss checks just to be sure that they knew what bosses were coming up. Did the math, said to themselves, okay, there's X number of free bosses left, X number of doable bosses with these Bahamut summons. If they're up on the moon, I'm going to check, use that as a little experience boost, and try to get as many key item checks done as possible.
And we don't see this cutscene very often, and we do have this randomized as well. We see the Elder of Mysidia burning down the Village Mist and finding yet another Rosa in the character spot here.
That Elder threw a lot of shade at Cecil in the vanilla Final Fantasy IV, and now look at him now burning down Village Mist.
Yeah, I don't believe we will be seeing either the boss fights in Kaipo in order to finish this off.
Nope, the objective is completed as soon as the village is set on fire. We just have to watch this cutscene, and then we get to carry around an unconscious Rosa with us for the rest of the seed.
Now, I will point out here that Konkers has done a bit of grinding already, so not only will the Luge fight be faster, but the grind afterwards will also be quicker for Konkers. This is assuming that Konkers takes the same path that IndoorWah did. What will be very tragic is if Konkers does the more popular bottom-up route of the lunar subterrane, faces a whole bunch of tough bosses down there for no reason, only to find the package necessary at the very top.
Yeah, and that is very likely. I think that I want to say consensus, but there's never consensus in Free Enterprise. But a common play is to go down to the Ribbon Room because it is the densest check, and then to take the rooms right next to the Ribbon Room. There's a safe spot right there. It's just a little cleaner, but it does not have the value that we need today.
And we can see Konkers is already saving some time here, did not go to Cave Bahamut, and looks to be fading the item shop here as well. Chat has pointed out that's not the only go mode available. The Adamant is still at large and would also result in go mode. So if Konkers manages to luck out and find that down here, rather than buried at the Feymarch bosses, for instance, then he'll be in good shape as well. It just depends. He has a few grind battles ahead, so Konkers is definitely still in this. Just needs to get a little luck or make the right pathing decision here.
The crystal gives IndoorWah his 10th, their 10th key item, and they'll be able to get double experience from their egg grind here.
Yeah, that's a nice payoff. And if Konkers finds, let's see. Yeah, if Konkers finds the either the package or the adamant rock down here, that will also be the case for Konkers for the rest of the grind. And we can see Konkers is going bottom up, so he's really praying for an adamant rock in the ribbon room. That's where you want to see it, right at this point.
Yeah, there is nothing wrong with the strategy that Konkers is employing right now. It is just as valid as checking Cave Bahamut early. There's no wrong way to do these checks. It is just unfortunate that we already know where the package is.
Yeah, and in most cases, bottom up is the way to go because the ribbon room has 2 key item checks for the price of 1 boss, and it happens to be a boss that gives you a lot of experience as well. We can see on IndoorWah's screen, the middle Rydia is being killed here, so Wah is wanting to keep her agility low. It looks like she's going to be serving as a quasi-anchor, not quite base level Rydia, but will not be really contributing to the final battle.
Yeah, and Konkers does remain, depending on what he pulls from these checks, about 7 to 8 minutes behind IndoorWah. Not a margin that is insurmountable. And I think that time loss is traced back to those 2 Mom Bomb wipes in the Baron Castle. It's just kind of unfortunate that he took those fights at that low level and found so much resistance.
This is a big oof here. We find Evil Wall in the ribbon room. Evil Wall is one of those bosses you just don't want to see on the moon. Konkers has managed to get a blink up. You're going to want blink on your entire party here, and then you got to race to the end, because if it gets too close, you start to get crushed.
Yeah, it's spots with high physical attack and fast spots are the worst place to find this Evil Wall. Blinks are coming on to Konkers' party, using Bahamut and the Quake spell for great effect, but this is in no way going to be an easy fight.
No, and Rose is already down, and this is a situation where you do not really have the time to get your characters back up once they go down. It just getting the life and the cure on them is not worth it. This is too fast of an Evil Wall.
Ooh, and at this point, all of the blinks have worn off, and Konkers' party is vulnerable.
Yeah, Rosa being the main source of blink here is a problem, because now that she is in critical HP, if you get unlucky, it's over, and we can see how close the wall is getting.
Yeah, Konkers might be regretting not adding Edward to his party at the beginning of the Lunar Subterrane. Edward does have a cheese strategy against the Evil Wall, where if there is nothing to hit for Evil Wall will just kill itself.
Yeah, and once those crushes start, you can't really keep up with it. Yeah, and here they come. So Konkers has to end this battle like very soon.
I don't think that Konkers has done enough damage to the Evil Wall. I think I was counted only about 12 or 13,000 damage. And I don't know exactly the HP at this spot, but I know it's higher than that.
Yeah, and we can see, oh yeah, not keeping up, is just barely keeping the party alive here, but has a stack of life potions. So as long as these Rydias don't get targeted and the Bahamut's can keep flowing, he may be able to make it through.
Dr. Cossack in the chat giving us the HP total at this spot, which is 42,000. That's going to be minimum 10 Bahamut's if Konkers is relying on Bahamut alone to get through Evil Wall here.
Yeah, it's going to be slow going, but I think he's very close on the HP at this point.
Certainly past the halfway point, I would guess. And it's so actually really surprising how effective he's keeping up against the crushes. That's pretty impressive. I don't know if he has slowed Evil Wall or dropped his battle speed, but somehow he's staying ahead of it.
Yeah, I think he's still in battle speed 1.
Yeah, so maybe this is just a slower spot than I assumed going in.
That crush on edge actually helped because now you just have to life potion him instead of using a soft. And we can see, and IndoorWah is not quite done with the grinding yet. Doesn't have the HP on the mages to make a full power Big Bang safe yet.
Konkers destroying Evil Wall, getting 100,000 experience on his party, and is rewarded with an Avenger and a Pink Tail. Avenger's a very nice sword, but it is not the value that he was looking for, considering he has no character that can use it.
Okay, take 2 here. Go Konkers. Is it going to be the Crystal Palace boss spot, or is it going to be this one right next door? I'm guessing right next door. This would be Vanilla Plague, if I'm not mistaken.
The Magus Sisters here at the Plague spot is not the worst boss. Not going to be the fastest boss either. This is a pretty low magic attack spot, considering the Plague doesn't really use magic. Although that's a lot higher than I expected, actually.
This is your Matchly PSA that summons go through Reflect. Have fun. Yeah, so basically we're hoping the Rydias don't get sniped. That's the way to get this fight done quickly.
Yeah, but the HP is split 3 ways here. 3 Bahamuts is probably all that's required to get through it.
Oh wow, and it looks like Wah might be ready to try a pretty low-level Reflect strat Zeromus here. That's going to be relying on nerfing both of the Big Bangs you'll see. Usually Reflect strats, you want to only see 2, maximum 3 Big Bangs to really make sure you can get it done.
Konkers only has 1 sister remaining here. Is going to be through it very fast, and we'll see what key item, hopefully a key item, waits for him after here. While we would be in go mode with an Adamant Rock, there's no guarantee the Adamant Rock is actually on the moon, with still that Earth Crystal and that Twin Harp out there, as well as all of the summon spots and the Rat Tail still unchecked. So there's still plenty of spots where that Adamant Rock can be hiding.
Yeah, you love to see a ribbon, especially since Zeromus only uses magical attacks, and besides making you immune to status effects, the ribbon also has pretty high magic defense on it.
It's a French vanilla ribbon that Konkers pulled from the White Spirit altar there.
Excellent. So while Konkers goes to the next boss spots to show us on the moon, it looks like IndoorWah is getting the inventory set up for a Zeromus fight, saving the game, turning the battle speed down to 3, and using the pass. So we got some Z flags, little blue flags in the chat.
It's I mean, on a lazy Saturday afternoon, I tend to like to take a 6 p.m. Nap. I think that's what chat is reminding me of. I don't want to be cranky for dinner time.
Well, we'll have to see if this boss is nap themed. What chat is wanting us to ask is, whose butt are we gonna kick this afternoon?
This early evening, depending where you are, of course.
Yeah, we do have random encounter sprites here for the final boss put into the game. A lot of them by our own Scala Kitty, who's helping a ton with this tournament. Boardface has also put in quite a few, but there's over 400 of these suckers, and it's always a treat to see what will pop up.
Do you have a specific one that you'd like to see here tonight, Motoss?
I really like the non-monster themed bosses, so the ones that are like menus or a Super Nintendo or things like that. So I'm hoping for one of those inanimate object bosses, I'll say.
I like the really punny ones, the hummus being my favorite of those.
We are seeing his true colors emerge now.
That is horrifying, whatever that is.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
It looks like it's a boss from The Secret of Evermore, but my nightmares tonight are featuring me being trapped in that terrible thing's carapace.
It has a mouth on its chest.
That's not where mouths are supposed to be, Motoss, unless I am mistaken about biology.
Meanwhile, Konkers is going down even deeper to the Masamune altar. Which normally would hold Ogopogo. We'll see if this boss is a little kinder.
The major benefit of doing pure reflex strats against Zeromus is that if you're not doing any direct damage, Zeromus technically has about half of the health that he would otherwise. So ideally, this fight's gonna be pretty fast for IndoorWah.
Konkers, meanwhile, finding a Mylon Z, has taken actually one bite to his Mylon Z already, but is getting a little bit better setup this time. And we should see, the blinks come out and the Bahamut's get queued up. The good thing is that this boss fight has pretty high physical and magic attack damage, but a blink can completely avoid physical damage if you can get them up fast enough, and Mylon Z doesn't really use any dangerous magic.
No, the both Mylon fights, there are very few spots that I would be afraid of them. This spot's a high HP spot, so it might take a little bit, but I'm not afraid of taking a wipe here. While both our runners make their way through these bosses, I just want to make a shout out to our Restreamed team. Of course, Alicel rolling the seed and bringing the stream to you. Chazman making all the pretty lights light up, and of course my co-commentator Motoss. Thank you for joining me today.
It's been a pleasure. Believe it or not, we have currently in this tournament restreamed over 140 races for this tournament, and Gambit, one of the Restream leads for this tournament, actually has let us know this is an average of 23 restreamed races a week. So that doesn't even count all the races that we didn't restream that people in the Discord have been watching and discussing on the side. So this has been an action-packed tournament, and we've tried to bring you just as many of these matches as we can.
It's at an average of an hour and a half per match. Like, this is over 35 hours of free enterprise being restreamed to you, being commentated over, being tracked. It's a Herculean effort by our community.
Yeah, and if you've missed any matches, you can see them on YouTube. And meanwhile, we see the flash and the crumble from IndoorWah. So with a time of 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 52 seconds, IndoorWah has remained alive in this tournament and will be going to the lower play-in, where we will be taking one winner into the table 32 stage.
GG's to IndoorWah, and we'll see if we can get them in for an interview.
And we do find that Luca key was behind the bottom altar. So Konkers has 10 key items, and of course the Luca key otherwise is pretty useless at this point. Konkers now about to do some gold dragon grinding now that he's got 10 key items. I like this play. As soon as you have 10 key items, you really have no reason not to finish your grind out. That way, once you get go mode, you know you can go straight to Zeromus.
Oh, hold on.
And we're nearly joined by IndoorWah, but we'll give them a minute to sort themselves out.
One second. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. We're still watching. We're watching Konkers take on this King Ryu grind, using the sylphs to heal his party and do some damage while in order to get through this fight and get a bunch of experience here.
Fantastic. That evil wall from Konkers was really something else.
It certainly was. It certainly was.
I'm good to go.
Okay. Well, the first thing I wanted to ask you, Wah, was you played extremely aggressively once you got to the moon, and you wasted no time. You wanted no grinding. You went straight to that first boss spot, and it paid off in a big way. How happy are you about that decision?
I'm pretty happy about seeing King Queen there, honestly. Sometimes you see like Kainazo there, or thank goodness not Wyvern, you know. But it was King Queen, and that was very nice. If I had seen something that wasn't free, I probably would have grinded a little more using the King Ryu grind.
Yeah, because the boss that actually gave you go mode was Dr. Luge at the top of the lunar subterrane as well. So we can see that decision has paid off now that Konkers has showed us that all of the bosses at the bottom of the lunar subterrane are not really paying off for him.
That's unfortunate. That sucks. So yeah, I usually do what I call like a breadth first search when it comes to the moon. Like I'll pick Bahamut, I'll pick Mura, and then if it doesn't have what I want, I'll go do summon, or if I'm feeling fresh, I'll do the ribbon room.
Oh, so this is a usual strategy for you. You usually just check those two kind of easily accessible spots and then nope out.
Yes. If I've had to stop myself from full clearing the moon because it's never paid off for me. So I'm just sort of like, I'm not really gonna do it. I'm gonna kind of try to bounce around depending on how long a certain thing has been accessible. Like Baron Castle was accessible from pretty much the beginning. And I didn't want to leave it on the table too long. I just sort of have like a thing ticking in my head, like, oh, this has been on the table for like 15, 20, 25 minutes. Maybe I should go check it out.
Yeah, and we can see both you and Konkers faded the Odin spot. We don't even really know what's there. What made you decide to not try that spot and instead go to the moon?
I get nervous about the summon spots because they're so tough and they often don't have much of anything. But I did see if I hadn't seen Demist at Hobbs, I might have checked Odin to see if Demist was there. But since Demist was out of the picture, nowhere to go but the moon.
So the CPU up at the top of tower was a pretty rude fight for you. Is there a reason you decided not to do any of the egg grinding before running up there? You did have a relatively low level party.
I thought I could just blow through it. One thing I failed to remember about that fight is that's an HP sponge, especially for that low level party, and CPU is the HP spongiest of them all. So I thought I could blow through it with Drain Spears and Bahama, and that didn't work. So I reassessed and did it, the normal way, the long way.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm sure as soon as you saw the CPU sitting up there, you regretted not at least getting Quake on Palom. But I always applaud bold plays like that, just running up tower and getting that objective done, even at low level.
Yeah.
Anything else notable about this seed that you found especially rude or interesting?
Trying to think of something. I don't really have anything off the top of my head. I wanted to thank the Restreamers and the commentary team, and thank Konkers for a good show.
Yeah, so you are going into the lower play-in on the hook route. What do you have any specific strategies going into that? It's gonna be a massive race, over 20 competitors in there, all vying for a single seat at the table stage.
I guess just trying things that I think other people aren't really going to do, like if demist or demist spot was required this time, but usually I check it when it's not even required, because there's high tier treasure chests in there. Every time I've gone to demist, as long as it's a one-hit kill for that boss, every time I've gone to demist, it's paid off. So just trying things that other people don't. Not really holding out hope given how many people are in the race and how many people are going to be allowed to advance. But, it's been fun.
Yeah, I did want to. This is not really a question. I did just want to commend you on that missed check, because we don't see that very often, and it did pay off for you big time. You had a crystal armor, which you used to great effect for your money early game, and you got your free curse ring, which Konkers had to actually buy in a shop to get access to.
Yeah, it that pays off, because if you look at the tier tables, Wildish bumps those up a lot. So. And Mist Cape. So
cool. Well, thank you for playing. Thank you for being restreamed, and good luck in the qualifier. We'll go back to the match now, where Konkers is getting through these moon bosses, and you are in fact giving us some music.
Heck yeah! Thank you very much. Go Konkers!
Yeah, and heading back to the action, IndoorWah's spoiler log has shown us that there's an Earth Crystal behind this Mylon, which Earth Crystal then has the Adamant, but hopefully Konkers does not get baited by that and checks the final boss spot on the moon to find the much faster go mode.
Yeah, it is really unfortunate that Konkers decided to do the top, bottom up. But again, can't hardly blame them. That is the more popular route, and does lead to more dense checks. It's just that those bosses down there were very rude, and
yeah, when you have 7 checks on the moon and you only need 1 key item out of 2 that could both give you go mode, it becomes really hard to pass up that 2-for-1 check. I mean, I really can't blame Konkers for going down there. It's the mathematical play.
I think of all the things, I think Konker's giving us that really well executed evil wall fight. That's definitely props to him for getting through that and for showing off some of those strategies.
And it looks like he is doing some equipment management here, so I can imagine that he is still wanting to check that final boss spot up here.
Yeah, I mean, with Earth Crystal being a new check on Overworld, that is not a check that is calling to me in most occasions. I'm gonna want to full clear the moon before I return to do any of those summon fights or the Earth Crystal, especially with my opponent having already finished.
And I don't know what the over/under on is on the time here, but it would seem to be it's faster to actually exit from here and then just go back in from the top for that first boss spot.
Yeah, again, I guess the Rosa still doesn't have exit, and I don't know if Konkers. We mentioned that IndoorWah had purchased exits, but I don't know if Konkers had. We can see why exit is such a valuable item and spell for the lunar subterrane, because while it's a long way going down, going up is an even less practiced routing.
Yeah, and this is also why early game Tella is so valuable for players, even if they're not going to use him for weak for their grind later. Having exit early allows you to do a lot more treasure checks and key item dives than you normally would, or in a faster order than you normally would. So I mean, see Konkers going out here. I would be interested to see if he at least goes out and saves before this final spot, because walking back up in the case of a wipe would not be great. And we can see, yeah, going to the staircase will be saving first.
Yeah, so we're gonna stick with Konkers as he finishes up here, but we do want to remind everyone that there is a lot more free enterprise happening tonight, starting very soon over on the free enterprise channel. We have kind of one of our most anticipated matches with Jeebus versus the defending Zeromus zone champion Penguinator.
Oh, and Konkers is in fact fading that final boss spot. No, Konkers.
Well, he will be doing the Zot check and getting the other half of the Excalibur. So he will be in go mode soon, and will be ready to use that pass. He is at Zeromus level, so as soon as he gets go mode, he will be ready to go. Unless, actually, he could just be checking the treasury here, which enables us to play chat's favorite game show.
That's right, chat. Get your rating fingers ready, because it's time to rate that treasury. Hey, white shirt's not bad. Not bad at all.
Having a couple moon veils would have helped him on those rude moon bosses that he encountered. Those aren't bad either. I mean, I think that's well, without a Cecil, the Crystal Sword's kind of useless, but maybe otherwise kind of a 7 out of 10. We already had a Zeus Gauntlet, already had a ribbon, so those are kind of doubling up on some pretty good items.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that you cannot dart the Crystal Sword. For some reason, the developers, you can dart the Excalibur all you want, but you can't dart the Crystal Sword. It's special. They didn't want you to be able to throw it away. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in case in that vanilla game you decided that you did not want to equip Cecil with the best sword that you could possibly find, but instead just chuck it at the final boss, or one of those evil faces, or whatever other rude things are after the Crystal Sword altar.
Yeah, and at this point, considering Konkers almost full cleared the moon and is now at least going to be about 25 minutes or so behind IndoorWah, you may be wondering, well, this is an elimination match, so why doesn't Konkers just GG it up? Well, that's because we have been encouraging runners, even when they're not restreamed, to finish out their matches, because if there's any problem found with their opponent's play, you want to have the other player have finished still, so that there's a valid way to overturn the loss if necessary.
Yeah, it's not only that, but it's also very valuable when you go back and watch your restreamed race to see both yourself and your opponent complete out the entire seed, just to get a complete measure on what you did better, what they did better, and look for those improvements.
Yeah, and we will at least get to see what bosses we left behind here. We do have Baigen. Baigen is not going to be long for this world in this spot with Konkers at basically Zeromus ready levels.
I say one Bahamut, if that.
Yep, there he goes. Goodbye.
Throwing up the quad 9s against Baigen. That's got to feel good as a swag play in here at the end.
Yeah, and we will now see what characters we could have had. Oh, look, there's the cane for all those spears we've been finding the entire game.
Yeah, it's at this point I'd be so frustrated that I'd make that Edge throw a couple of those spears at the cane. If he hasn't thrown them all already.
Well, and we get another twin, but that twin will not be coming with us unless Konkers wants to get a little bit slightly better agility anchor. But at this point, Konkers is set up for good reflex strats. Doesn't really need it, especially with the Kurth Ring in hand. So I think we'll be ditching this Porum as well. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, it's even if you wanted to get a better anchor at this point, I mean, if you're going reflex strats, you want all the casters that you can fit in your party, and you're going to hesitate when swapping any of them out.
Oh my goodness, it's a Wyvern. This is tragic. What in the heck?
Yeah, even end game levels cannot help you against Mega Nuke.
I might have waited to see the damage rolls because I don't think the magic power at this spot is considerably high, because Babel doesn't generally use magic attacks. It's high enough to make sure her stone doesn't miss you, but otherwise, I might have tried to see if, Edge's HP is still only at 2700, so Chat is informing that would have not been a smooth move. Would have been quad 9s.
Still, quad 9s is something that I always like to see, whether it's on the enemy or on myself. It's just pretty. Them all lined up.
Well, if you like those quad 9s, let me tell you about a game called Final Fantasy X and Break Damage Limit.
Just those string of words together made me very sleepy. How many 9s in a row could you get with the break damage limit?
Well, you can get your 99 and that 999, so 5 9s.
That's good to know.
Conker is going to be set up a little better for this Wyvern fight. It can only expect will just be either turning the battle speed down or run buffering. We'll be able to throw out that Star Veil this time.
Yeah, run buffering definitely. It's as you start to understand the agility of this game, run buffering is a very easy strategy that you can use to get a couple extra ticks on that ATB in your favor.
Yeah, we see does manage to cue it, but will it actually happen? Yeah, that'll do.
Quad nines.
I've always loved how when Wyvern kills itself, it dies before your party members hit the floor. I just think that's a strange way that the game is programmed.
Yeah, there must be some kind of frame priority with the disintegration animation. Yeah, chat pointing out that Konkers did use his final Star Veil in that fight, and going into a reflect strategy, you're gonna want to stack a couple of those.
And it's now just finally at the end that Rosa learns exit.
Would have liked to see that instead of walking out of the lunar sub, but it's better late than never.
And we'll get to see the Cocal shop as well. I've got to say that Objective 1, which is the static objective for this tournament, has not been the popular one for most of these races. So even though it's been present every race, we haven't seen it too much.
No, but it's certainly the 4 objectives complete 3 is certainly made for a few races with some interesting routing. It's been more than a few have had runners finish with similar times but complete vastly different objectives.
Now we can dart that Excalibur, so I can imagine Zeromus will be seeing that chucked at him later.
Yeah, imagine Kokel, the horror on Kokel's face when he realizes that his masterpiece is just thrown at the source of all evil in the universe.
If only it were like arrows in other video games, like sometimes your arrow breaks, sometimes it doesn't. Maybe you can recover the Excalibur later.
I'm pretty sure that after Zeromus dies, he slowly disintegrates into the void. So if you want to go swimming in the void to find your lost sword, I think that that's good luck to you.
Yeah, Konkers is now going back to Fabul where those Star Veils are, because of course, using Reflect strats, you do need Star Veils in order to make it fast. So gonna go pick up the Star Veils and head on over to the Z fight, and using much the same strategy that IndoorWah has.
Yeah, the time it would take for Rosa to wall up to get wall off is just going to be too long. It waits a turn that she could be either healing or nullifying the Big Bang. It's workable, but Star Veils are just a more optimal strategy here.
And we do see Konkers also remembering to turn the battle speed back up. Had been on battle speed 6 for that Wyvern fight, and that would have been a little tragic to have gone into Zeromus with that slow of a battle speed. You do want it to not be at 1 for most of the time for Reflect strats, just to make it easier to get your timing right. And Konkers also showing off, this actually would have been a soft lock situation in vanilla Final Fantasy IV, because you cannot... you have to, well, not a soft lock, but you have to walk way farther, because the big whale is now parked at Troya, and that doesn't leave anywhere to land on this continent for your airship. So Boardface had helped us out. You can land down by that chocobo forest, and rather than having to get a black chocobo and fly it to this continent, you can just walk across a bridge that he added.
Yeah, it's I definitely appreciate the addition of that bridge. It saves a little bit of time with having to run after a chocobo.
Yeah, the big whale, of course, is the slowest form of transportation in this game, so we rarely see it flown anywhere on the blue planet. But sometimes when you're in a hurry, as Conkers was coming back from the moon, you don't have time to land, get out of it, get in your airship, get over there. You just end up flying it straight there.
Yeah, you have those extra screen transitions where after you land, you have to land the big whale, transitions inside, then you have to walk out, transitions outside. So it's not the most optimal form of transportation to fly around the Earth.
Konkers is about to transform Zeromus, and we should see a pretty quick Z fight from Konkers here.
Yeah, I definitely I liked a lot of Conker's choices in this seed. He played it very well and showed off some good strategies. But yeah, just unfortunately, just choosing that different routing on the moon ended up putting him this far behind. I think it still would have been IndoorWah's race if they did the moon checks in the same order, but it certainly would have been a lot closer.
Yeah, because Konkers never went to Cave Bahamut, so Konkers did save some time on the moon. It's just it all came down to luck as to where the progression was there in the moon spots.
And once again, we have to stare into the void eyes of Threemus, which will definitely be visiting me in my nightmares.
And that was an unfortunate counter nuke targeting Rosa. That's the one party member that you did not want to get hit, and not enough time to heal. But luckily, this Big Bang was nerfed, so Rosa stays alive.
Yeah, it looks like the Big Bang only doing 300 damage, partially due to the nerf and partially due to the white shirt that Konkers pulled from that Troya treasury.
And you're about to see the power of reflex strats because ideally at this battle speed with this party makeup, we really shouldn't see more than 2 Big Bangs on a Konkers side. And I did notice Konkers did have the Silk Web in order to slow Zeromus down. That's a key part of this strategy. And as well, if you think you're going to get a second Big Bang, you do want to cast the Crystal on Zeromus again, because if you direct cast a nuke to nerf it instead, you risk Zeromus actually getting the health refill, which you don't want. And we see Konkers took a little bit of bad timed, not a nerfed Big Bang, and of course these mages cannot survive a full powered Big Bang if the rolls aren't favorable, so it's going to try again.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. And I don't know, was that nuke on the bottom Rydia from Zeromus, or was that a mistargeted reflected nuke?
With the spell power on it, make me think that it was a mistargeted party nuke.
Yeah, and chat confirming that's unfortunate. If that was a direct nuke instead, it may have fallen into the nerf territory.
Yeah, I guess we should explain this since both players are using reflex strats and relying on these Big Bang nerfs. The enemy AI sequence for Zeromus actually changes his spell power before he does certain moves. This is because the programmers wanted you to be able to survive certain moves, but didn't want the counter moves to straight up kill you. So Zeromus sets his spell power high before doing Big Bang. However, there's a period of time in between that happens and when the Big Bang happens, where if you trigger a counterattack from Zeromus, which any direct spell damage will do, I should say non-elemental, because white will trigger a separate counterattack, and summons will also trigger a separate counterattack. Basically, you want to trigger the nuke counterattack from Zeromus in that time period, because the script will then run for the counterattack, which sets the spell power low. But the spell power being set high for Big Bang has already happened, so it doesn't go high again, and you end up with a Big Bang that is significantly lower spell power than what it should be.
Yeah, nuke is an especially rude spell to have cast on your party, because it actually negates some of the target's magic defense. That's one of the reasons why it does so much damage.
Yeah, and this is a situation where, we have really been leaning on these multiple Rydias with the Bahamut spell throughout the seed, but this is the reason why you will not be seeing Bahamut spells pretty much ever in the Zeromus fight, because the counterattack for summons is actually weak, which, considering your party gets HP sapped by Big Bangs, pretty much means one of your characters is definitely dead.
Ooh, so you hate to see one of your mages go down here, but hopefully Konkers can get him back up pretty quickly and heal everybody. This Big Bang will be nerfed, so it won't do too much damage though.
Yeah, it's nice in the later stages of the fight if the counter nukes hit your reflected character. That's always good luck to get.
It's also unfortunate that with the edge, the Konkers did not pick up a spoon, because if timed correctly, that spoon could come in for a clutch finish to Zeromus to end the fight, and while also preventing the refill. So really, that edge is just gonna be sitting around for this whole fight, maybe throwing out some Cure 3s.
Yeah, that's a good use. Obviously, it's pretty rare to get to Zeromus with a full party of casters, just because the rest of the seed becomes pretty hard to get through for various reasons and various bosses. So your physical attacker here is very nicely used as a chemist, because of course you can't heal your reflected character with magic, so they're going to need to be kept alive solely through Cure 2s or Cure 3s thrown on them.
So Konkers looks a lot more in control of this fight than the previous Zeromus fight. As more of these powerful magic spells get queued up, it's going to delay Zeromus's actions and push those Big Bangs kind of further and further into the chain of moves. So ideally, we only see the one, but it looks like with him queuing up the second Big Bang here, we may be hit with one here as well, which probably won't be good for those Rydias.
Yeah, and there's also the chance, if you're kind of just going on autopilot and you see a black hole, that's also going to be a problem, because it will remove the reflect on your character that you already have nukes queued up onto. So that's a guaranteed have to get them back up, because they will definitely die. Yeah, and we do see an unnerfed Big Bang there, but luckily only one character goes down. Pretty lucky on the damage rolls there, because that could have killed everybody except Edge and Rosa.
Yeah, so that white was queued up before the Big Bang, so if that bottom Rydia went down, it would have wasted a bunch of MP and one of Rosa's turns. So pretty lucky here. It's a good roll of luck that Konkers got.
Yeah, and there comes the big bang, or the black hole we were talking about. So, very heads up, Konkers didn't queue more spells, but unfortunately already had the nuke queued on that bottom Rydia.
Yeah, the second Rydia taking the place of the reflected character, and Konkers just throwing out hopefully the last nuke required to hit that 65,000 damage threshold and take down Zeromus.
Yeah, this Zeromus is very close now to death. We don't get the Meteo phase like we do using more traditional stats or strategies, so it's harder to tell if you're not counting. But he is, I think, within 2 nukes of death, if I've been counting correctly.
Yeah, and to clarify for anyone who may not be familiar with again the Zeromus fight, is that Final Fantasy IV has a limit for how much an individual boss has in terms of HP. That's 65,000, and so after 65,000, with direct attacks, Zeromus refills. But if you're just reflecting spells onto him, that refill gets skipped.
And it looks like it did just take one more. So with an official time of 2 hours, 7 minutes, and 51 seconds, Konkers has completed his final match in this tournament.
A good showing from Konkers. It's unfortunate that he will not be continuing on. And we're joined by Konkers. GG's.
Thank you. Oh, let me mute the stream so at least I don't have to listen to echoes.
No problem. So, Konkers, you did you had a very good seed. It's unfortunate that you just didn't do the correct routing through the moon. But I think the most impressive thing you showed off was those crush strategies against Evil Wall, avoiding having your party being wiped out. Is that something that you practiced, or were you kind of just flying by the seat of your pants there?
I mean, I've definitely done that before. But when Evil Wall got like halfway down, I decided to just concentrate on the Rydias and keep them up, and knowing that by the time it got to the crush phase, I had a ton of life potions and I could just make it through.
Konkers, we got to tell you, the most heartbreaking thing for us here in the commentary booth was we already knew that the top boss spot in the Lunar Subterrane was a Dr. Luge holding the package.
Oh.
Are you a bottom down person usually, or a bottom up person usually?
I'm usually a bottom up person, yeah. At that point, I was kind of a little spooked. After the Baron fight, where I died twice for not particularly good reasons. I think my head never quite got in the game again. Lots of sloppy menuing. You saw me nuke my own Rydia on the first Z attempt.
Well, if it's any consolation, your opponent did actually. You kind of flip-flopped where you had trouble. You did Baron Castle quite early and had some trouble with that Mom Bomb. But actually, IndoorWah did Tower super early and had some big trouble with the CPU, which you managed to clear with no problem.
Yeah, I figured I'd put that off a little bit, which, goes against the always do your objectives first. But that's definitely like a difficulty spike pretty early on. And then when I found the sirens, I knew I could just pop a couple of those and make that easy.
That's definitely the strategy I would have used too, just to get a couple levels, get Palom to Quake, and make whatever boss I find up there a little easier. But you ran into a lot of trouble on the Baron Throne there. What were you thinking trying to get through that, and were you considering kind of fading it after the first wipe?
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of time investment to get down into Baron, and back out again for that matter. Although I did have a save outside of Baron. So my thinking was this can't possibly take longer than coming back here later. I'm not sure if that was correct thinking. But yeah, that's why I decided to just go for it. I knew I could get it if I were had making correct decisions.
Yeah, and the other thing I think that chat pointed out, and that I think will be interesting when you watch back, is that early on you did have Rydia in the middle spot, and you were using the Sylph spell fairly heavily. Did you realize that you were using MP in that situation, or was there a different reason why you kept Rydia in the middle there?
Yeah, I was confused the whole game why I was using MP. If you saw I like flip my spells around, I thought that might be something, and then I'm like, maybe the glitch got turned off. At that point, I was just kind of just going with things.
Yeah, so yeah, Rydia, the only time, it doesn't matter with the spell location, but it's the only time that Sylph glitch is turned off when you have the flag on is when your Rydia is in the middle spot. Yeah, well, so you probably noticed that your other Rydia was not using MP and your middle one was, and if you didn't know that, it's understandable you could be confused. But that's Free Enterprise does require a lot of knowledge and a lot of memorization, and that's one of those things that I always forget until I start losing MP, and I don't until my Rydia is out of MP, and then I hit myself. Yeah.
But yeah, all in all, the seed wasn't terribly rude. So, thanks for that, Elisa, or Elise. How do you pronounce her name?
I believe it's Elisa. I think I'm getting that correct, right, Motoss?
Yeah, I think you're right. Alicel.
Alicel. Yeah. Well, thanks for a kind seed.
Is there any final thoughts on this seed or the tournament in general?
Thanks, of course, for everyone organizing and everyone on the Restream today. Best of luck to IndoorWah at the play-in race. I hope they do very well.
It's certainly unfortunate that you're not continuing now, but you gave us a great showing as your final match in this tournament, and hope to see you in future events going forward.
Great, thank you.
And that means we are just about wrapped up for today. I want to thank again my co-commentator Gundampilotspaz, our tracker tonight Jasmine, and our restreamer Alicel. We will be heading over to the home channel of Free Enterprise now to bring you a match in progress between Jeebus Zero and Penguinator. This is, in my opinion, one of the hypest matches of this round, so definitely stick around and enjoy.